Okay, so now that you have your set, like you'll see mine is going to be, right now you see that I got the actual stool and I got the microphone. You add materials to it. So that should be at the end of the actual animation that you have. Show you two ways to do that. The simple way is just that if you look onto the screen right now, is that I'm going to go back and here just use the floor. And then you remember is that if I use the actual ball over here, it says okay, it's going to add those default ones. So I'm just going to use like this one over here, which is the default, which is like the arc and design. But I'll change that name to make sure, as a name column, it says floor. Okay, so press OK. I'm going to apply that to my floor, and then this looks like not really good. But then I'm going to go into the modifier and just start to change that. So in this case, what I want to do is I'll go in here and it says reflective, blah blah blah, material. Oh, this is the tiling over here. So in this case, if I'm not mistaken, I have to go like 0.5, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe like 200. Okay, so now you can see that I played with the actual tiling, which it has to be like 0.009. This is what you get. It looks pretty good. So that's one way to apply your materials. Don't forget to apply and then render that into the viewport. But now let's say that you want to use a little bit more in details, like especially your character in this case. You want them to have a specific kind of material. So what you do over here is it's more advanced kind of way of doing materials. So I'll show that. You're probably going to need to actually just go in and just really test this, rewind the video and play it back. So I'll go really quick, and later on you'll have to go probably back and forth. So this is what it's called. Go to modify panel, select your character that you want to do your UVW unwrap. So unwrap UVW, click onto this. This pops up. First thing is that I'm going to go in here, I'm going to click onto the faces, and I'm going to go into this class, say edit. So you get this screen. So I'm just going to move this over here, and I'm going to move that up, okay? And then there's one thing I'm going to say option, constant update, close that again to have more places. And in this case, what I'm going to do is just that I'm going to go in here and say click onto the edit part. That's already active. And I want to make sure that I'm going to see, let's see, where's that guy? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and just say mapping, flatten mapping. I'll press OK. Now it's all like this, so don't worry about that. I'm going to select all of these guys, hold Alt Control, and just select them all. I'm going to say quick planar map. Click onto that. That's not the way that I want, so I'm going to change the actual axis to Z. Quick, no, Y. Click, whoa, that's exactly what I want. Okay, so perfectly shaped, kind of an egg in this case. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to check something. Let's see, I already did number 2. Okay, so now that you get your selection, you click on over here, says like whoops, it's like tools, there we go, tools, render UVW template. Let's click onto that. You just use the default, remember that's 1024 by 1024. Press render template. What this does is just that it creates sort of a little map of it. You're going to save that, and I'm going to save that into my actual 3ds Max, and it's going to be into my assets, scene assets, and I'll put that into images, and I'm going to say Mr. Jiggle. UVW, okay, and I will save that as a JPEG for now. Click on that, press save, press OK. Then I'm going to close this, close all of that. Just to, before I go, I'm going to say to you like what I've done before doing this. As you can see that I changed the ID to number 2 and ID number 1, is that I went into my character and I use a little poly. I click onto the polygon, okay, and I'll say yes. And what I've done is that I use a front tool. Well, I'm going to put it like this. And then first of all, it says ignore back facing. I rubber band everything. And as you can see, I just selected, well, actually self-selection is on. So I click that, okay, and because it was a different color. So now I see that I get all the front. And what I've done is I went all to the bottom, and made him to be ID number 2. So in this case, you just select that and just press number 2. Then I went to say Control I onto my computer, onto the keyboard, and then you select the opposite. And then I said, well, this will be ID number 1. The reason why is you'll see later on. So now what you do is just that you go into your Photoshop, you go to File, and you open the actual mapping over here, which is this one over here. You press open, and now you know where your actual character is. So you can actually just go in and just start to paint over him. Just to show you, I'm going to create a new layer. And then yes, obviously if you don't know Photoshop, you might have to learn a little bit about it, but it's a really good thing. So first of all, I want my character to be the base. I want him to be orange. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and put him on orange, and I'm going to use a fill tool. Click onto that. First of all, I'm going to hide this. This will be his base color. Okay, I'm going to create a new layer, hide this one, and I'm just going to use the actual elliptical, what is this called? Elliptical marquee tool. And I'm just going to select like right over here, like this way, and I'm going to make these things to be filled with white. So I'm going to use this, change the color over here, use the fill tool, click into this, and then I'm going to go Control D, select, Control D, or you can go to Filter and just say, select, and just say, deselect right over here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a Move tool and just do a copy of. Oops. Before I do that, Control Z, and now hold on to Alt and Shift at the same time, and just make a duplicate over here. So now I got this. These will be, I could say, this would be the right eye, right, and this will be my eye left. Okay. I'll activate this first, I'll activate this, and here's what I do. File, Save As, and I'll make that in the same place that I just saved the actual JPEG, which is 3ds Max, Scene Asset, Images, but in this case, I'll make it a target file, and target file is just that what you'll see later on what's going to happen. So I'll press on to save that. Then when I have that done, it's already there, I'll go to my material, or my 3ds Max, bring back, so I'm going to go to this one over here, and I'm going to go back to my material, and I'm going to call this one over here, I'll use this ball, but I'll say, multi-sub-object, okay, this guy, because I want to have the ID number 1 and ID number 2. So ID number 1, that's the back facing of my character. ID number 2 is actually my front facing material. So I'm going to click onto this to activate this guy. In the diffuse, I click onto that, and then I want to go and get a bitmap. And the bitmap that I want is actually, I'll say all files in this case. And where's my tugger file? Storyboards, let me see. I'll put that in list. Right now, it's just I forgot to see, yes, I want to have 24 bits. Don't use 32 bits. 24 bits is okay. Press OK, and now it's going to save. And actually, yes, now it's saved UVW, JPEG. And then let's go back now to my material. Let's go back to this guy. I should see, yes, now I got the UVW and it's a target file. Click onto that, press open, and I'm going to apply that to my character, show in the viewport. And as you can see now, I got my character actually looking at this part. Now the only thing is just that if you look in here, is that if you double click onto this, wow, he's got a lot of eyes. Therefore, what you need to do is just that you gotta go to play into the size. If I'm not mistaken, it will be, I'll show you really quickly. In this case, there's also other things you can do, but I'll say like, I'll try 200, and then 200. Okay, so now what you need to do is that you're going to go in here, and you can actually just rotate this thing, so it's going to be fixing him, so he's going to get the eyes in front. So that is what you mainly do as far as materials. I'm going to go back to the parent, right to the parent, I mean, okay, so I got this kind of material. Number 1, I'm going to show you like a different color, just to show you. Okay, this will be the ID number 2, I'll click on this. I'll put him like maybe still orange. little bit kind of a different orange, just so that you can see. Well, let's put it this way, blue, so you're going to see the big difference. Press OK, apply the material, show in the viewport, then click onto this. You see those two materials? Now as you can see, okay, now I got this part and I got that part. Okay, so this is what we call the UV unwrap, and this is how, or this is what they are using into the industry in order to make their precise materials onto characters. They go beyond that. There's a lot of the subcategory of this, but that's basically how you put materials onto your stuff and you play with it and then you apply them. Okay.